Welcome to No Man's Sky survival mode, and here we are guys, we're down on my base, and in this part I want to do some terrain manipulation. Now this should be interesting, but there's a couple of things I want to fix. But before that, a bit of apologies guys, my cold is still lingering. It's got down into my throat now, so if I sound a bit hoarse and a bit raw, apologies for that guys. I've taken medication but it doesn't really seem to have done much. Anyway, let's get down to why I want to do some terrain manipulation. And the first bit is I'm not happy with the way this landing pad comes out, and I feel it should be sculpted into the landscape. And the other area that I want to work about, probably the easiest way is to come up here and use the photo tool, is that I excavated this great big hole down here to get rid of a rock coming up into this pathway here. I'm not happy. I'd like to try and smooth this out a bit, and I'm very much aware that the terrain tool in No Man's Sky is a bit of a blunt instrument, so this could be interesting. But I've got a few ideas, and I just want to show you this guys, is the fact that I have leveled this area through and I've raised this area up here so that I can do it. I mean, probably the easiest ways to demonstrate it is I've managed to level this area here, and it means that now I can just walk through these doors without having to kind of jetpack up a little bit. And I will talk a little bit how I've done this, and the clue is here, and I will demonstrate it. And I've also come through here and I've actually created this pathway through here using the terrain tool, so it can be done. And I think the big difference now is that before the next update, life was very easy because you had predefined base locations and it was all nicely flattened out in a big circle. Now you can build bases anywhere. The terrain tool is becoming a little bit more important, and well, I think I'm just going to get into it guys. Now, as I've already mentioned, the terrain tool is very much a blunt instrument, and all it does is add terrain, take terrain away in a pretty rough way. So the two items you really need when you're going to do terrain manipulation around your base. The first one down here is a manual save, and this acts as the backstop save for when you've got something that you're happy with and you don't want to change. And the other one is a ship. Now, where's my ship gone? Oh, my ship's right up the back there, which is a bit unfortunate. And the ship save is going to be an interim save when I get to a point where I think I'm going to be okay, and then I want to save that before I do anything else. And of course, if you're doing permadeath, you've only got the one save, so life is a little bit more interesting. What I would recommend guys is, if you are going to use the terrain manipulation tool, because that is actually the tool that we're going to be using, which is this tool here, what I would strongly recommend guys is go somewhere and have a good practice before you actually use it. Because the way the terrain manipulation tool works is that you've got here, and the normal default mode is negative, but if you click in your center mouse key, it will then goes into add, and then if you can press the Z key, you've got this option here to change. And what I want to do is change to this, and you can see change selection, navigate. You've also got different material types, but I'm not going to stick that. I'm just going to stick with this. And what you can do is zoom in to change the size, and that is about all there is to it. There's no level tool or anything like that. Now I've got the square tool here because what I want to do is get into here and raise this terrain up. And what you do is you pick up bits here and you just come through here in long strokes. I think maybe we'll make it a little bit bigger. And you can see it's a very blunt tool, and I'm not even going to try and get it level, because what I'm going to do is level it in another way. And I think maybe we can just get down here. I'm sure there's probably people who practice with this tool, but I'm just gonna come in here. I think that's good. I think I can get over the top here, and I'm just gonna get in here. And in some ways it's the reverse of doing things. It's gonna get in here and clonk it through like that. As you can see, it looks, I mean, it's not too bad actually in this sense, but I don't want it too high because I'm not sure whether we're going to get the same visual effect. Yeah, I mean we could just put that there. I mean is it accepted? I mean it's a bit humpy lumpy like that. I suppose it could work. Yeah, I think maybe I've got away with this, guys. So obviously it's not quite as blunt as I thought it would be, and hopefully that may not impinge on the tower there. Now the other thing I want to, although I could, maybe I want to level this off a bit, and this is where the fun bit comes now, guys. And what you need to do is, if I come in here and we get, I think I can do it wooden components, and the way if you want to level stuff is if you come across like this. This is quite a good tool to do it. If you want to do a big area, do use this, like this. And what you do is you drop like that. Just gonna over here, and whoops. I'm just gonna jump over the top like this, and we should be able to get in here. I'm just gonna click here, up again, cross it up, and then effectively this is the leveling tool in No Man's Sky. Oh great, that's all I need. Game, you can be intensely irritating. I'm busy. What you do is you do that, see, and I think I might just be able to get a small area on here. Yeah, I think just get that there and that there. And of course what you do is then come in here and then you delete it like this. What you get is this level effect. I mean there's a bit of a depression there, but come out. Can't use the jetpack. Yeah. And if I come across around here, yes. Right, got a massive thermal storm here. And you can see I've now smoothed this through a little bit, and I could do a little bit of work in this area. I'm just going to get in out of the way here, and just going to jump in here, guys. And what I'm probably going to have to do is sit this storm out. Right, guys, the storm's just clearing, and what I was decided to do is harvest up my frostworts. Come on, get down here, and that should be able to make some glass here. I'm not sure if I'm going to need the glass, but and the storm's gone over now, so we should be able to get out and do a little. Oops! Stop annoying me, game. And what I did whilst the storm was going is I actually dropped a manual save, because I was thinking a little bit about this, and what I want to do is just going to go to the terrain manipulator, and top tip here, guys, notice that the terrain manipulator always goes to negative when you put it on, so bear that in mind, guys. What I want to do is just, I think what I'm going to do is change the shape back to that. What I want to do is just bring this up a little bit. Yeah. Of course, because it's dark, it's not exactly. Sorry, go back. Oops. Get over. And just going to fill in these areas here. It doesn't always work when you intrude on the buildings. I think that will work, guys. I think that. Let's change this out so I don't do this by accident. Got a bit of a dip there, but the only way I'm going to get rid of that is to lift this leg up here, and I don't think I really need to do that. I think with the flattening effect of the area here, I think that works. Now comes the fun bit, but as I said, guys, the first thing we're going to do is go down, drop the manual save. I'm just going to get down here, because I don't want to lose that bit of work I want to do. And now comes the interesting bit here, because what I want to do is try and sculpt this area in. And just have a quick check of the multi-tool. Yep, we're nearly out, so I think we'll just use some magnetized ferrite. And again, just going to come here, and I think I want to change back to cuboid. What I want to do is what I want to do is just build this area up. I think maybe we can get as small as possible. Start here. See if we can build this up. Maybe a little bit bigger now. I mean, it's complaining because it's occluding with the actual landing pad. Sorry guys, brain faded a little bit there. And of course it can't see as well as you should be able to do. I don't know why. I'd like it if this was a box. It would actually. And we're just going to put in maybe a shrink down a bit there. And what I want to do is come around here. Now you probably get a good idea why. Come on. Let's see if I can put this in here. Back. You can get. Whoops, a daisy. It looks very heavyweight and cumbersome, but it will make sense, guys. And we got a little bit there. I don't know if that will. Right, I think that's about it. How far out does that come? Now this needs to really come out a bit more. I think if we just come along like that. That's not too bad actually. So I don't want it to be out too far. I want it to look like it's been sculpted into the area like that. Now comes the fun bit. What I want to do is delete it, and then I'm going to come back here. Mining being terrain manipulator, and of course it's on creative. And what we're going to do now, we're going to fill in the interior like this. Get a bit smaller there. I think that will be the line of it coming up here is roughly. Come on, game, do it. Just going to put in a little bit like this, and we're going to do the same on this side. That's the line roughly there, isn't it? Come in here. And with the torch, make it look a bit better. Yeah. What I want to do is just. Oops. Luckily here it's not quite so important whether we get a good line or not, so just running out of game. Come on game. Sometimes it will drag, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you just gotta and for what I want to do, going slightly weapon depleted. Going over the top is probably a bit better than not doing enough. Oh, that's better. Maybe because I was running out of fuel. It didn't have a... I think there's a bit of a gap there, so let's just drop some more in here. Bit more there. Just want to have a bit of a walk around there. It's all pretty lumpy, bumpy. Maybe we'll just put a bit more on the top here, like this. Bit worried about down the side here, but I don't think there's much I can do about this, to be honest. Oops. Put a bit there. So we've now got a, well, it looks probably a bit of a mess. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, yeah, I think it's okay. I think we might be able to shape it in a little bit. And what I want to do now, and hopefully this is the next bit. Now, I haven't done this before, guys, so this is very much a voyage of discovery. Come on. And that dropped on correctly, yes. So we've now got this pretty horrible lump here. This side looks pretty good. I think I can live with this. It's sculpted in a little bit on this side, and just want to have a quick look over this side. Yeah, I think it kind of works here. It looks like it's resting on here. It's a little bit of a mess down here. And I think this is where the ship save is going to come in. So I'm just going to go over to top up the oxygen here. Now I'm just going to go and do a little bit of a ship save. Yeah. That gives me the second back out. Now, what I want to do across the front here is trim this back a little bit so that it looks a bit like this here. And this is where you can use the another variation of what I was doing just now. What we should be able to do, I can drop that a bit higher. Have a quick look. Is that that's not too far back, and this is why it's very important to drop the save, guys, because getting this right will make and break it. So if I come forward, say about there, and how's that? That's probably a little bit too far forward now. And this can take a very long time. Try not to be too impatient with it. And the important thing also is if you want it to be square, try and get square on. Actually, if I come in here. Right guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fiddle with this until I get it the way I want it to be, and it may take a little while, so I'll see you once I've got it done. Right guys, I've been trying to get this back further, but it won't let me do it, so I'm just going to try another strategy. And what I'm going to do is just put these across like that. That's not going to, because that's now touching the front of the landing pad. But if I now come across like this, this is how you can trim back the area here. So if I put that there, and if I can get across like that, and you can see I've now trimmed back this area here. So I now delete these. You can see here I've now got this. That's not too bad actually. I really need to trim off this corner a little bit here, don't I? And I also need to drop this down a little bit more. So I think if I can come up here, and I think if I can get this back a little bit more. That's not going to work anyway. Okay. And what we can do is just trim off that there. This can just trim back. That's I don't know, it's working. And take this off like that. And what I've done now is I've trimmed this back. I've got a little bit of a gap there, but I don't think there's much I can do about this. And oops, that's my friendly Viking guy here. I mean, I could put a little bit more on the front here and experiment a little bit more, or maybe just leave it the way it is. I mean, one way you can do it, and what I will do is just go up and drop another ship save, because I'm still not totally convinced it's the way it's going to be. So I'm just going to drop another ship save, and just going to come here and going to get this as small as possible. This is where things can be a little bit tricky with the, because you can see here, see where it's blasted out completely. I don't know, will it work? Yeah, I suppose it does work a little bit. I mean, I could build this area back up again and do a little bit more. I think what we'll do is just give it a little bit of a tweak around this side, maybe if I can just shoot at that corner there. Oops, oh, I've got myself trapped. I think it could probably do with a bit more polishing in the front here, but I think from the point of view of building things up and manipulating it, I think that's where I want to leave it with respect to the landing pad, simply because I could probably spend 3-4 hours working on this, and I probably will do over a period of time. So I'm quite happy with that as a starting point. And what I'm going to do now is just come down and drop a manual save. That means I've got everything completely saved up here. Now I want to show you one more thing, guys, before I wind this video up, because it's probably going to get a bit long, is how you can actually use building placement to sculpt out an area here. Because as you can see up here, what I've actually done here is I brought a tunnel out here and literally just placed this, and it chops straight into the side of the hillside here. I'm not totally happy with that, but I think I can live with it, and yeah, maybe it's going to be okay. I mean, I could bring this out a little bit more, but I'm not sure. I mean I could. I mean, part of me would like to get rid of that corner there a little bit, because this drops down underneath here. But now I think I'm going to stop here, guys, and I think this is one of the important things when you are manipulating the terrain, is knowing when to stop, because if you make a really bad mistake, it could take a lot of time to actually fix it. Right, guys, I think this is where I'm going to wind the video up, because I'm starting to get into tinkering mode here, and I probably will do some tinkering, but that's something that I can go off and do myself. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting. I hope this has given you guys some ideas for how to manipulate the terrain in No Man's Sky. Even though the terrain manipulator is a little bit of a blunt instrument, it can actually get some pretty good effects with a bit of patience and perseverance. Probably going to need to tidy this area up a little bit more. I'm still not totally happy with it, but this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.